Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop.
I'm your host.
Your DFS Jerusalem coming to you live from the
Listen, you got 150 entries and then you're a shark and I don't fuck with you. So
There's too much good shit on here. This is the often imitated, never duplicated. I'm here with my lovely co-host. Thank y'all. Stay safe. Enjoy. I may have been calling in to work. You're going to be in the running for the Snowflake of the Year. Get your shit together with your snowflake. I'm at the crib, man, and I'm just finishing up. Stop. Throw them bitches in the main. I'm telling you. You're going to see the results, bro. You're going to see it. This is what's really going to help you out. You know how I feel about the home dogs. There's a lot of fight in the home dogs, and I really think a lot of shit to go over tonight. Who that scored all them points over there? Player of the night.
get them in your lineups, get them in there, and let's go get this money.
Thursday, let's go, and remember, in the sweatshop, we always keep it 300. Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Today, we are going to be jumping into a mixed bag, a little MLB as well as NBA. Now, I think in total, we've got, 7 or 8 games as far as NBA is concerned, but the slates are very choppy over on DraftKings. I think we might have an all-day something on FanDuel, but we're going to be working primarily on that 5-game slate over on DraftKings. We know that we can exploit those options to throw them bitches in the main over there. That's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna talk a little bit of MLB. First things first, man. You know what? Shout out to everybody that has made the transition or is making the transition from NBA over to MLB. And you know, while we talk about this, you know, I just want to give you an idea of what it is. Okay, I want to give you an idea of what it is. We've got 8 games today, starting at 5 o'clock. So there it is. All right, so I want you to think about NBA and think about NFL. Now, NFL, a lot of you play NFL DFS. It feels like you've got all week or you've got a few days to study for a test, and you do well. That you have a really good idea. You know who's going to be playing, what the circumstances are going to be, what the weather's going to be like. Like you have a very good, all the things that kind of control that environment in NFL. You have a really good read on what to expect. So we do get a lot of certainty when it comes to NFL. Now, if you cross the complete different side of the spectrum, you're talking about NBA, where volatility is one of the key features in the gameplay. Where like NFL, lineups are not going to lock. You'll be like, oh shit, where's David Johnson? Oh, my bad, we forgot to tell you, David Johnson is not playing. Like that doesn't happen. That rarely, if ever, will that happen in NFL. But in NBA, those things are commonplace and they're very hard to deal with. We look at a slate like tonight, where I love to have my core plays already locked in. When I wake up in the morning, I like to know these are the 4 guys that I'm fucking playing, regardless of what. I don't care what anybody says. And I had that set in my head, but then the news comes out a couple hours before lock. We're not going to be seeing anybody from the Atlanta Hawks. They're going to put their D-League team out there. That automatically, because I didn't have Atlanta Hawks guys, I had Cleveland guys. So that automatically creates this monster hole in my core plays. I have so much salary left. Everybody's Westbrook. I'm playing Westbrook. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to play Westbrook too in some spots. So I ended up splitting myself down the middle with Westbrook after I told myself I would not play him under any circumstance, priced up at 14K. End up doing that. Totally shifted on my core plays. Was not very good. And you know what? That's why I would implore you to jump in with us in MLB DFS, bro. Because you get the quick flip every day. You get to play like NBA. You always get to play. There are always games, different slates. If you want to be, hey, I'm an early slate guy, or I like to do my research the night before and just play the early slates. Or you get to kick it around the house and say, hey, I like to do my research during the day and play the later slates. Like whatever it's there for you. The prospect of making consistent returns on your investments are there for you, and you don't have to deal with the with the unpredictability, for lack of a better term, of the NBA. So MLB is right up your alley if you're looking for a way to play every day, because you don't have to. It's not like NFL, like when as soon as as soon as the slate is over, you're like, damn man, I'm ready for Thursday, and so you can play a slate that you don't want to play, a Monday Thursday game. Oh yeah, you don't even really want to play that shit. You want to play the full Sunday shit, and you get to do that every day with MLB, and that's why this is the best. The best is the best. It's my favorite automatically. And a lot of people say, well, damn man, you don't know much about MLB as you know about NBA. And you're right. You're right. The NBA is, what I know the most when it comes to the subtle nuances of the actual game. But like I always tell you in the sweatshop, man, this shit is not about the game. It is about numbers. It is about statistics. I don't give a fuck what sport you put in front of me. There's math involved, and I can figure out the math to make myself profitable. That's what I've been doing so far. So we look at it on a day like today, man, where I got killed in the late slate because I had Liriano. I was 100% Liriano, so that killed me there. My NBA slate didn't go that well because uh, it was just an ugly slate. All the value hit. So if you did whatever stud you pay up for, if you didn't ball out, you were dead. So those lineups kind of tanked. But what saved my daily fantasy day and still made it a very profitable day for me was I fucking hit in the early. I did the research the night before, got with some guys in the sweatshop, and did the research the night before, set my lineups, and forgot about it. Around midday, I'm looking at a 11 times my buy-in. Awesome. Went with a Pittsburgh Washington National stack, faded Coors Field, paid up for Scherzer, and it was a very profitable early slate for me. And when I lost that night, it's all good. It happens. But it was a very profitable day for me. So if you're looking for a DFS home, you want to learn some MLB, you want to learn tips, tricks to really get yourself going to MLB, come fuck with us in the sweatshop. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Very solid guys in there. It's very awesome. And as soon as the NBA is over, because honestly, legit, like I have scaled back my buy-in so far on NBA, like to where I'm only playing so that I can have some shit to report to you. That's the only reason why I'm playing, because until the playoffs start. And once the playoffs starts, we're gonna see more solid rotations. You're gonna know who's gonna be showing up. So that makes it a little bit easier there than the playoffs. But right now, I mean, the last week or so, like it's a fucking crapshoot, bro. Like you don't know who's gonna be playing, if the people that are playing are gonna care. Like you don't know shit. You ain't gonna know nothing until the playoffs start. So I would urge you to, if you're gonna play up until the playoffs start, to just play lightly and tiptoe around MLB, bro. It's really dope. I'm telling you, it's really dope. And me, I approach MLB the same way I approach NBA. I have to watch games. I'm a visual learner. I've got to watch games. And there's a few players just within the first couple of times I've seen them play, I know that's my guy. Like one of them was Nomar Masara. I was on him, man. I saw him swing during opening day. I think the second day of opening day. Saw him swing the bat, man. The dude reminds me of fucking Ken Griffey. The way it's an effortless, powerful swing that if he makes solid contact with the ball, it will fly. Dude hit a grand slam tonight. Finished, I think he was the highest DraftKings score that we had on the slate. So he was somebody that I had 100% of. Unfortunately, I had 100% of Liriano as well. But those plays are gonna come to you the more you watch. You've got to be able to watch the games. So let's go ahead, man. Without further ado, man, let's go ahead and jump into my favorite part of the show. This is my very favorite part of the show. This is where we get to highlight some cats in the sweatshop that has some decent outings. Let's go ahead and take a look there before we jump into the feature four and, of course, the rest of the show. Shout out to the homie Dave Cunningham, man. He says, my first bigger win of the season made up for Liriano. Yeah, Liriano as well. Shout out to the homie Dave Cunningham, man. Good to see you getting it in second place in that $500 check swing single entry tournament. That was a good one there. Next we got the homie PJ Osario, the Texas stack, man. He got into this Texas stack, and he says that it kept him in the running. Thank you to the fam for the data, the research. Couldn't have done this without all of us in the sweatshop. So that's awesome, man. Anytime a guy shows us love like that, man, one of our own, that's really solid. Now we've got Nick Phil Pierce, man, had a really solid one. You know, early was lit when you beat Chipotle Addict. Oh, there, yeah, he's sitting on top of his head. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh yeah, Yeah, that's awesome. Dope. I love that. I love that. We've got the big homie Nathaniel Reynolds. Again, another great night for me in baseball. Had this line in several places, and it gave me 10 times my buy-in. My first 4 days have been excellent, and this being my first year in MLB DFS, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Maurice Simmons, man. Glad to be a part of this fam. Let's keep that money rolling in. That's right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Awesome, awesome stuff, man. The homie Chris Dixon, man, C Breezy got it in today. Placed in quite a few contests. Said moved up in stakes, had 45% Liriano. The Indians didn't score after the second, had 100% Schwarber, still cashed 15 out of 20 lines. Very solid. Solid showing there. We got the big homie Rudy Huerta, the mind behind the perfect lineup strategy that has been taking the DFS world by storm. Almost 300 with these sorry punks. The only two guys that went against my data. But I wanted to, and see, and that's crazy because this is the dude that fashioned the perfect lineup strategy that a lot of us have been using. And even he sometimes falls victim to not wanting to trust the process and believe in the data. And it comes back to haunt him. Because you look at this lineup, bro. He does a live stream in our VIP just about every day, like outlining plays that we should take a look at when it comes to his perfect lineup strategy. And these are all guys he had in there. Gordon Hayward, Labissiere, Jokic. He was on DeRozan. He was not on Prince. So how the fuck did he get into your lineups, bro? Yeah, it's crazy, man. We listen to those other people, man. We listen to other sites and other shit, and it takes us off of our core plays, man. And it really disrupts our groove sometimes. This dude was in line for a very big night, but he's human, man, just like the rest of us, man. It happens sometimes. Good to see still cash though. Really solid return on whatever investment that he did put in there. Now let's go ahead and jump into our featured four players of the night. We're gonna start with the Who Dat, scoring all them points over there, player tonight, and that is going to go to none other than the big homie Boban Marjanovic. Now this is funny because we was inside the midday mix and everybody is telling me, "Yo, Boban, I'm telling you, just play Boban." The homie DP is like, "Yo," Derek Patterson's like, "Yo, play Boban. I'm telling you, just trust me on this one." And I'm like, "No, fuck no, I'm not playing no damn Boban. I'm not doing that." I played him maybe a year or two ago when he was at San Antonio, and he went the fuck off for like 50, and he got another start, and I played him, and he shat the bed. I was like, "Man, fuck that dude. I'm never playing his ass again." But they talked me into it, man. After much goading and telling me who play this dude, play this dude. I go out and play him, man. 28 minutes, 27 points, 12 boards, 2 assists. Has an awesome game, 46.5 points. That is why you tonight, Boban, are the Who Dat scoring all them points over there, player of the night. The next guy we're gonna get into is gonna be the How did I miss that play tonight? Now this goes out to Devin Booker, man. The dude has been playing, on another level for quite some time, and I'm still a little pissed that I didn't get a piece of that big game that he had. And I think that when I do roster him, he's gonna shit the bed. So I never really give the dude a fair shake. And at 8K priced up in this matchup that should not have gone this way. The the Phoenix Suns should not have beaten the Oklahoma City Thunder. This game was a 6-point total, I believe, in favor of Oklahoma City, and they go and get blown out by the Phoenix Suns, man. And Devin Booker at 8K and salary gives you 38 minutes, 37 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, knocks down 5 threes, and also gets a steal, 1 turnover. Very solid game we saw from Devin Booker, and that's why you tonight, I didn't have you anywhere, so you are the how the fuck did I miss that play of the night. The next guy we're going to talk about is the heat check play tonight. Now, Gordon Hayward. This Gordon Hayward had a game. 39 minutes, 39 points, 3 boards, 5 assists. Also had 2 steals, knocked down 4 3-point shots. Excellent game there, and that is why you tonight, Gordon, salute. You are the heat check player tonight. This is a guy this is the only Utah Jazz player to average better than 20 points a game since Karl Malone. This dude is the franchise, and he's a very, very good player, man. Very good player. I like to watch Gordon. What's up, brother? What you doing over there? Hmm? I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You're snowflaking. You're sorry ass. Tonight's snowflake player tonight is this motherfucker right here. Yeah, you. Torian Prince. 4.6K. Brother, you was 25% owned in some tournaments. You were supposed to be the value. That means your ownership was double your DraftKings score. That means you ran off on the motherfucking plug. And for that, tonight, you, Torian Prince, You a motherfucking snowflake with your old snowflake ass, and I ain't gonna roster your bitch ass again. Now let's get on with the rest of the motherfucking show. Now, as you can see here, we do have in total an 8-game slate. There's 8 games tomorrow, but it's chopped up. It's a very choppy slate. We're starting with 3 games in the early. Those 3 games that we have in the early are going to be the Chicago Bulls and the New York Nets, New Jersey or whatever, the Brooklyn Nets, whatever, motherfuckers. Then we got the Boston Celtics and the Charlotte Hornets at 6 o'clock. The Hornets are going to be home. That's a very good game there. And then we've got the Pacers and the Orlando Magic. So there's a ton of juice in these early games. I kind of like those a lot. Then we've got the 5-game slate. That's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks against the 76ers, the Miami Heat and the Washington Wizards. We got the Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs. And we also have the Utah Jazz going to Portland and the Pelicans going to Golden State. We've got the 4-game late that starts at 8:30. That's where we're going to see the overlap there because we got the Clippers in San Antonio. We've got the Portland Trailblazers and the Jazz, and then we've got, of course, the Golden State Warriors and the Pelicans. And then we got a 2-game later. That's just going to be, that's going to be just the 2 late games, the Jazz and the Trailblazers and the Golden State Warriors and the Pelicans. So it does overlap some. You can make lineups here and throw them bitches in the main. You can make one in the late, the 3-game, or the 2, and throw them bitches in the main. Now you can't do anything, but this is isolated. This is the 3-game is an isolated slate, and I think that's probably the best place to make a lineup. But wish you could throw it in the main, but you can't. So let's go ahead and pop this puppy open. We're gonna take a look here, and we're just gonna start, of course, with that main. I'm excuse me, with the early, just because I know some of you guys might be playing FanDuel as well. You want to get some analysis on players from the teams and everything. So we're gonna go ahead and get this open. Now, the highest salaried player on the slate, of course, is going to be Jimmy Butler. Not a huge fan of paying 10K for Jimmy Butler. I'm just not. As a matter of fact, it seems kind of hard for me to pay that much for Jimmy Butler, man. The dude is good. He's great. He's a great player. But, I mean, that's a lot to pay for Jimmy Butler. I mean, you're asking for like 65 points is what you want in this spot, and I just don't see that being the case. I just don't. And on an early slate though, there's only 3 games, but there's star-studded though. There's tons of guys that you can get to play very well. Now we got some brother on brother crime going on in the Chicago game. You've got Robin Lopez and Brook Lopez. I am not going to play Robin Lopez. I would much rather play Brook Lopez in this matchup. But it's a very solid DVP matchup for him. So I'm not going to be on Butler. You can take a look at Robin Lopez if you like. Mirotic is also in a very good spot. We can target those Brooklyn Nets guys against the power forward spot. I think Jeremy Lin is also in play on the Brooklyn side. Maybe little Rondae Hollis Jefferson. I do like Karis LeVert in this spot because we can target the Chicago Bulls at the small forward position. He's a very solid play, up-and-coming young player. This team still wants to play well, wants to prove stuff. Trevor Booker at 4.1, not a player that I'm particularly interested in. But this team, man, at home is fairly scrappy. I mean, they're not going to just lay down and die. Like, this is a team that is fairly scrappy. So we can see some of those guys really make a difference. Now, Dwayne Wade is a game-time decision. Could play in this game, as is Spencer Dinwiddie. Joe Harris is out, and Rajon Rondo is probably going to be out for this game as well. So if Dwayne Wade plays, that's going to take a lot of the load off of Jimmy Butler. And just the fact that he's 5.5, I'm going to play him. I would rather play him than Jimmy Butler at 5. I'd rather play because Jimmy Butler is 5,000 more than Dwayne Wade. So I kind of hope he plays so that I can safely fade Jimmy Butler and still get a piece of one of the worst defensive team defenses in the league in the Brooklyn Nets. So that's where I'm going to be going. Next game we're talking about is going to be the Charlotte Hornets, and it's going to be the Charlotte Hornets and the Boston Celtics. Now, this game. And I've got the graphic pulled up. You can see some of the higher dollar guys here. Now, this game is a 214-point total with the Charlotte Hornets getting a point and a half at home. So the Boston Celtics are giving up a point and a half, man, and automatically, instantaneously, I do like Kemba Walker in this spot. I think he's going to be a very solid play, priced at 7.8. Probably going to have to be guarded by Isaiah Thomas because you can't put Avery Bradley on Kemba Walker, and who the fuck you gonna put on Nick Batum? I mean, there's no way around that. So I think Avery Bradley guards Nick Batum. Isaiah Thomas is going to attempt to guard Kemba Walker. Kemba is going to cook him, but I also think that Isaiah is in for a solid game as well. Now, Boston needs to win this game if they want to, get that number 1 seed in the playoffs. They're going to have to beat Charlotte Hornets and maybe win the last couple of games out. So we can target the Charlotte Hornets at that shooting guard spot. So that does put Avery Bradley in play for me at an even 6K. I kind of like him. We also can target both teams rebounding the basketball. So that would lead me to kind of look towards Marvin Williams at 6.1, as well as Cody Zeller at 4.6. I love that price on Cody Zeller. Nicholas Batum is not a guy that I'm particularly interested in. He'll be seeing a lot of Avery Bradley defense. I'm not sure that I want to test Avery Bradley. Al Horford is in play for me, as is Jay Crowder. I like that spot for him. Maybe a little bit of Marcus Smart and or Kelly Olynyk is going to come off of the bench. I kind of like that as well, because we're going to have to get some stacks involved in this game. It's only 3 games on the slate. We're going to have to be stacking. I mean, you can't get around it. You can't get around, stacking. So you're going to have to take a look at some of these cheaper guys here, and just, go from there. The point total is 107.8, so that means we can look to guys other than the studs in this matchup, and I think that's a very fair strategy. Very fair strategy. On the Charlotte Hornets side, looking deeper into the bench, Frank Kaminsky, yes. Give me some of that 5K Frank Kaminsky. I like that. Now, the Charlotte Hornets, they have not been mathematically eliminated yet. However, they are a very long shot to get that 8th seed. I still think they're going to want to come out and play hard. They're going to be at home. It's going to be high energy. They're going to get up to play the Boston Celtics. And I do think that we can look to Frank Kaminsky off of the bench. And I hope Marco Bellinelli doesn't play, because that means Jeremy Lamb will get some consideration there as well. Ramon Sessions, Johnny O'Brien, and of course Marco Bellinelli are all game time decisions. The next game we're going to talk about is the Indiana Pacers going to Orlando to take on the Magic. And I'm telling you, my favorite play, my very favorite play on this early slate is still Paul George, man. I love the spot. Now, 9.3K, he is priced all the way up. I don't see that being a major issue because there's enough value on the slate to roster him. There's not enough to roster Jimmy Butler. It's just not. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm not going to play Jimmy Butler at 10.5. Now, in this Indiana game, there's no spread or total for Indiana and Orlando, but I can tell you right off the bat, Paul George is somebody I like. We can target them, the Orlando Magic, at the small forward spot. Definitely, we're going to see Jeff Teague in a very solid matchup. I like him as well. The point total hasn't come out yet, but I imagine it's going to be, right around 210, 2.5 to 210, something like that. So I think we can target a few of the guys on the Indiana bench, not from the bench, but just the guys that's going to be helping, the assisting guys. Guys like Thaddeus Young at 5K interest me a little bit. Also, maybe some CJ Miles or Monte Ellis, whoever you think is going to be in a more solid spot. I tend to go with the cheaper guy, which is CJ Miles in the spot. I don't have an issue there with him. On the Orlando side, man, I love Vucevic, man. This is one of the worst teams in the league against the center spot, and that's Miles Turner. He is a defensive liability, without question. He's a defensive liability. I can definitely see Vooch really taking control of this game in the low post, as well as stepping outside and shooting that jump shot. In my humble estimation, this is the game to stack, because you got Elfrid Payton that looks like it's a negative DVP matchup, but it's really not. You've got Aaron Gordon, who I kind of like. Actually, I like him a lot. At 6.6, you've got Terrence Ross. You can attack the Indiana Pacers at that small forward spot. Don't like much off of the bench because Evan Fournier is going to play, so that takes Jody Meeks out of consideration. Maybe some Bismack Biyombo if you really want to reach, but he's still priced up at 4.5. Not too happy about that. Jeff Green is out in this game. You're also not going to see Glenn Robinson III on the Indiana side. So this is going to be the game that I get the most exposure to as far as my stacks. Let's go ahead and jump into the next of the the first game we're going to be getting into is the Philadelphia 76ers at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. This is a 209-point total with the Milwaukee Bucks giving up 6.5 points. That means the Philadelphia 76ers are the home dog. You know how I feel about the home dog. There's a lot of fight in the home dog. TJ McConnell kind of jumps out to me right off the top. We're not going to be seeing Sergio Rodriguez. So there's going to be a ton of minutes. So many guys are out. Okafor, Robert Covington, Sergio Rodriguez. So that means these guys are going to be dressing 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 guys total. So he jumps out to me as well. TLC at 5.9 is a little bit priced up, but I can get a piece of that. And Dario Saric will remain on that minutes limit. So the furthest I would go is to a guy maybe some sauce off of the bench. So those are the three guys I like from the Philadelphia side. It's going to be TJ McConnell, TLC, as well as Sauce on the Milwaukee side. You've got to give consideration to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Without Robert Covington, this team is suffering to defend the wing. So I definitely think we can take a shot at Giannis in this spot. Dellavedova is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. We know that Malcolm Brogdon is a game-time decision. John Henson is as well. So I leaned heavily on the center spot a game ago, and I was sorely disappointed by both Greg Monroe and Thon Maker. And I think this is a get-right game for Greg Monroe. Priced at 5.2, probably going to be seeing a fair amount of minutes off of the bench against the 76ers. I don't have an issue with rostering him. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have him in a few of my lineups. I don't like Tony Snell. No Chris Middleton for me in this game. The only guys I like are going to be, Giannis and Greg Monroe on the Milwaukee side. Those are my two targets there. So the next game we're going to be talking about is the Miami Heat and the Washington Wizards. This is a 215 point total. And of course, at the top of the order, we do have John Wall. This is a negative DBP matchup for him, but he's such an awesome talent that at 9.5K, you can get a solid return on that investment in him. Of course, 215 points. The Washington Wizards are at home, giving up 6 there. Whenever John Wall has some massive home road splits, man, he's really good at home, and I think we can take a shot on him definitely. Brad Beal is priced down to 7K. I don't have an issue with that. No Otto Porter for me, even though the dude is 5.1, and you want to attack the Miami Heat at the small forward spot. I would much rather attack those guys at the power forward spot. Now, if we're going to see Jason Smith get the start here at 4.1, I think that's the play that we definitely can look to. So maybe some Ian Mahinmi at 3.1, a very solid play there could be. So I like John Wall. Brad Beal, we can consider him. We can consider him. On the Miami side, Hassan Whiteside, yes. Give me some of that Hassan Whiteside for the bounce back game. Also, I like Goran Dragic in this game. I think we can take a look at James Johnson. If he starts again at power forward, but we can definitely look at James Johnson. And they should have been doing this all year long, man, because they're having the firepower off of the bench to where James Johnson could be in that starting role and really produce there. I mean, he's shown that lately. At 6.6, man, he's shown that. Tyler Johnson is also a player that I kind of like at 5K flat off of that Miami Heat bench. So those are my targets there. The next game I'm going to talk about is going to be the LA Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs. I don't imagine that much can be done as far as playoff seeding when it comes to this, because I think both of these teams are safely tucked away in the playoffs. We've got Diamond Stone and Austin Rivers are going to be out for this game. We've got no Kawhi Leonard, no LaMarcus Aldridge, Powell, Danny Green, and Manu were just out last night. That could be the same thing. If we see that, you can load up on all of the value guys. I'm talking Dwayne Dedmon, Jonathan Simmons, David Lee, Kyle Anderson. All of those guys are going to be in play. On the Clippers side, you can look to the big three definitely if we see all of those guys. Now, the fact that all of these guys in San Antonio have been resting or might be resting, we may see some resting for the LA Clippers. I'm not trying to start a rumor or light a fire or scare you or anything, but keep that in the back of your mind as you consider your early roster builds. Next game we're talking about is the Utah Jazz going to Portland to take on the Trailblazers. And you know what? I love this spot for Dame Lillard because he's going to get that Utah discount home at the Motor Center. 8K for him. Probably will not be seeing George Hill. So I definitely think we can take a look at him in the spot. I like him. I think CJ McCollum also deserves consideration at 6.4. That's a very cheap price for him. So I'm highlighting these guys, creating my initial player pool as we go through the slate. Not too much else I really love. Maybe some Myers Leonard if he does start at that center spot. Just because he shoots the ball deep. He's going to be taking Rudy Gobert, I think, away from the basket, which was kind of sour me on Rudy Gobert. I'd much rather look to a guy like Gordon Hayward. Rudy is 8.6. That is just too much to pay for a guy that may be taken away from the basket, defending Myers Leonard, shooting that deep three-point shot. So Rodney Hood is a player that I kind of like in this spot. We can always attack the Portland Trailblazers on the perimeter. I wish they had like a really solid starting point guard because, you got Shelvin Mack, you got Dante Exum, and those guys are just not effective at playing at the top of the key. They're just not. So those are not guys that I'm really interested in. The last game on the slate is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans going to Golden State to take on the Warriors. Now, DeMarcus Cousins probably won't play this game. It's a game time decision. We got Etwan Moore, Omar Ashik, and Quincy Pondexter. All of those guys are game time decisions. Steph Curry is also a game time decision in this game. So there's a chance that Kevin Durant does play. If he does play, I don't see him jumping right back in with the playoffs already locked up. I don't see him jumping back in and playing a ton of minutes. Now, he's only priced at 8.7. So that is strictly a tournament play, strictly. Klay Thompson, 6.9. Yes, give me some of that. Very good DVP matchup there. And we may be seeing, we should see Draymond Green. I kind of like him in that spot as well. I like him there. On the New Orleans Pelicans side, give me some Anthony Davis. I think that's a very solid spot for him. Drew Holiday is a player that I do like in this game as well. And maybe some Jordan Crawford if we think this game gets out of hand and we see a solid amount of scrub love for Jordan Crawford. So now that we've broken down the upcoming NBA slate, we did the 3 game as well as the 5 game. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at some MLB just to give you an idea of what we're thinking about, because pitching is really my main concern. Now, taking a look at how the overall slate shakes out, there's a ton of slates here, man, and that's why I love MLB so much, because we have the whole night to really investigate and dig in and see what we want to do as far as these like 5 games earlies that start at 1 o'clock. And the good thing about that is these are still very solid tournament payouts. I mean, they're not as much, of course, as the main that we're going to see at 7:05, but these are very solid payouts. You can get in there and do some damage, man, and have something to go into some of the later slates with. Some guys I know, all they play are the earlies and the lates, the night joints, the early and then the turbos. They don't even play the main or the all day. The all day, those are going to be very small payout tournaments or high dollar head-to-heads if you want to get involved in that. So, and just to talk really quickly about MLB, man, there's like a few major questions. Okay, so with the early slate, probably the biggest question is who is going to be your star pitcher number 2 on DraftKings, and I can pretty much tell you the chalk on FanDuel is going to be Archer at pitching, and he shows a lot of really great stuff in his first start, man. He looks like he's back. We saw the velocity there on the fastball. We saw the breaking ball really taking twists and turns. So I think that Archer can be a very solid play tomorrow on FanDuel. He's almost going to be, I would say, 30 to 40% owned in most GPPs and most tournaments, because there's really not too many other places where you can go in that early slate. So on DraftKings, you got to figure out what you're going to do at your starting pitcher 2. And that is where kind of the rubber meets the road. Now, there's a few guys that I think I'm going to be targeting to make up that starting pitcher 2 role on the early on DraftKings. And I just want to just give you a few quick hits about a couple of them, okay? Now, what we want to do here, and yo, some of the bats are very cheap. We got some really good bats that are cheap. So who do I like? All right, Guzman is a player that we can definitely look at, and Masahiro Tanaka. Now, this is from the New York Yankees, my New York Yankees, going to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. Tanaka had a very bad first outing, left a very sour taste in a lot of cats' mouth. And we go back to the Baltimore Orioles and look at the type of batters that they are. These are swing for the fences guys. These are big ogres with bats who love to hit fastballs. And I think that, their strikeout potential is very high. So we could see a guy like Tanaka rack up just enough strikeouts to where if he does give up a couple of runs, it's not going to hurt him. If he can stay in a game and not get completely shelled the way he did against the Tampa Bay Rays, I think we can see a very solid showing from Tanaka. He is in consideration to be my starting pitcher 2, as I probably will be rolling out Archer, because Archer is going up against the Blue Jays, and he has a very solid track record against these guys. Going to be seeing a lot of right-handed bats. We've got one guy, Kendrys Morales, who he has trouble with. As a matter of fact, this is the only guy. Do some back testing. Check it out. The only guy that he really has trouble with in the top of the Blue Jays order is the guy that switch hits, Kendrys Morales. Everybody else, man, he played pretty well against them the last few times out. So I do like Archer, and I think he can be a very solid play. And my secondary guy is going to be Masahiro Tanaka. That's the guy that I do like. So the next question that we're going to have, there's two questions for the 10-game main, right? The first question is going to be, what do we do with Clayton Kershaw? Both of these questions are going to be centered around what happens in Coors, because we've got the LA Dodgers going to Coors Field to take on the Rockies. All of the batters in this game are priced up to hell. I think the cheapest exposure that you can get to Coors Field is going to be, I mean, like, people that you don't even want to fucking play. Like, the cheapest exposure you're going to get on either side. Okay, you got Andrew Toles at 3.9, batting leadoff for the Dodgers, which is not bad. And then you've got Dustin Garneau, who went out and had two jacks last night. So, do you think that's going to happen again? No, probably not. It's 3.6. But you got guys like, Arenado's 5.3, LeMahieu is 4.6. We've got Charlie Blackmon at 5.2 on the Dodgers side. You're going to be paying all the way up for Corey Seager at 5.4, Adrian Gonzalez 5K, Forsythe 4.8. So you've got some, really, and Puig, man, 5K. So you've got some exorbitant prices for the Coors Fields guys. And for me, I'm fading Coors batters. I'm not playing any of them motherfuckers. I love Clayton Kershaw. And this is the question. The question is, what do we do with Kershaw? All right, some people are going to be of the mindset where, balls travel in Coors, I'm not playing Kershaw, which I think will drive the ownership down. Then you got people like me who are thinking, well, the whole point to Coors Field is if a guy can make solid head-on contact, the ball can fly. Well, Kershaw is a fucking ace, bro, an ace left-hander who is seeing Charlie Blackmon at the top of the order, Carlos Gonzalez, and he has a sterling track record against a lot of these guys. So I don't even see them making the type of contact to where, Coors Field is going to be so deeply in play to where it scares you off of him. So I love Kershaw. He's a player that I definitely do like. And the second question is, what do we do with the batters in Coors Field? I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm not playing any of them motherfuckers. I don't want nobody in this game, because this game could be a major letdown, as Coors has been or was yesterday as well. So, and I think that there's other bats that I can get to make up the difference. Let's check out man, look at the Braves, bro. The first thing, look at the San Francisco Giants. A Giant stack looks lovely. Going up against Chasen, the right-handed pitcher, he's at 5.5K. Not a very good pitcher at all. And look how cheap these guys are. We got Brandon Belt 3.7, Hunter Pence 3.9, Posey 3.8, Brandon Crawford at 3.4. These are really, really good stackable offenses here that we can take a look at. Also, going back up, checking out the Braves. Now, I think the Braves are due for a small ball explosion. I don't mean a ton of home runs, but I mean just a lot of hits, maybe a stolen base or two from Garcia or Ender and Ciarte, some guys like that. Maybe some Dansby Swanson getting into the mix. Matt Kemp, of course, is day-to-day right now. So I definitely think, against Chad Kuhl, man, they can blow up Chad Kuhl. They're playing against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Looking on the Pirates side, you've got some guys that are pretty priced down there as well. Marte's at 4.4, but you got Josh Bell, 3K, McCutchen, 4.2, Polanco, 4.1, David Freese is day-to-day, Sevilla is 2.9. So there's some really good cheap bats, man, that you can get to supplement those guys that can be, rostering and stacking a Coors Field, whether it's on the Dodgers side or it's on the Colorado Rocky side. Because Ciarte is 3.7. That is a stolen base threat. That dude should not be low-owned being that cheap. Now, Freddie Freeman is 4.4, but you got Nick Markakis at 3.5, Brandon Phillips at 3.4, Adonis Garcia, who is also another stolen base stealer threat, 3.3. You've got some very solid prices there for those cats. So I kind of like those guys. I like them a lot, actually. And we've got the Washington Nationals. Now, these guys are not priced down, but they're not priced up to the level that we're going to see the Coors Fields guys. So and you got Trey Turner at 4.7, a solid price there. Dude is usually 5K. Eaton at 4.1, Bryce Harper 4.9, Daniel Murphy 4.5. You got Ryan Zimmerman 3.4. This is a stackable offense as well. Going up against Aaron Nola, he's going to be seeing 3 left-handed batters in the top 4 at the top of the order, so we can take advantage of that as well. So I don't have an issue with that at all. Jeremy Guthrie is going to be pitching for the Washington Nationals, so I think that they're going to be giving up enough runs to where we're going to see, you know, an increased sense of urgency when it comes to putting runs up on the board from the Washington Nationals, excuse me. On the Philadelphia side, these guys are cheap as well. Hernandez, Howie Kendrick, Herrera 3.9. Some very cheap bats here. So I think there's enough value around to where we don't have to lock ourselves into Coors Field. That is going to be the way I'm playing it. So, of course, this has been your DFS Jerusalem. You can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. I will be, if all things work out well, I should be in the midday mix for everybody, where we can chop this shit up and really break it down. We got some games starting very early, so there's a chance I might not be out. I'm at the barbershop cutting hair all day. So I want y'all to go out, man, and have a very profitable Saturday. First thing, thank you for all your support of the show, man. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for all you do for me. It's amazing and it's awesome, man. Every day somebody hits me up and tells me about how well things are going for them, or somebody hit me up and tell me how they're not doing so well, and then we can chop it up and kind of get them through those cold streaks, because you're going to have those. You're going to have hot streaks. You're going to have cold streaks. The key is managing that bankroll to a point to where you always got something to play with. So that's one of the major keys, because if you don't have no money to play with, I don't want you to continue to deposit. I want you to be in the business of withdrawals. So thank you for supporting the show. If you want to further support the show, there is a box over there. Go ahead and click that box. It says support the show. Go ahead and do that. Also, if you would like to join me and the rest of us here in the DFS Sweatshop, it is very simple. Just go to the website, www.dfssweatshop.com. That is where you receive all of our tips and tricks and toolage to turn you into a very profitable DFS player, whether it's MLB, NFL. We're doing all the sports. We've got MMA guys in there. We've got golf guys in there. Everything, man. Awesome group, man. Love those guys a lot. So go ahead, man. Have a profitable Saturday. And remember, the #1 thing I want you to do when you're in the sweatshop, keep it 300.